Hello, everyone. My name is Xuan, a third-year linguistics PhD student in Queen's University, Belfast. I'm very grateful to AHMS for giving me this opportunity to present my PhD project to those who are interested in. My research is situated in the field of programmatics. It aims to investigate how Chinese EFL adult learners comprehend sarcasm in English traits. In the following presentation, I will talk about the content of my study from the full aspect. The current status in this area. By doing so, a clear research gap could be generalized and presented. Then the corresponding research question towards the research gap have been proposed. Next, I will discuss the methodology for addressing these research questions. Finally, I will talk about the contribution so that its significance could be revealed from my presentation. First, based on the literature review, it could be found that some studies have been conducted to provide definitions or theories to explain what irony or sarcasm is and how it works. Specifically, some studies focused on investigating the inferential effects such as prosodic cues, context on people's understanding of irony or sarcasm. Instead, some aim to figure out the functions and characteristics of irony or sarcasm. But researchers found that those studies are mainly conducted in native adult participants. Thus, they extended the focus to broader area and different participants. Then some scholars, such as Hurtado and King, believe that compared with native speakers, non-native speakers will have more difficulties in comprehending sarcasm, as irony or sarcasm is defined as a kind of cultural-related issue. These disparities between native speakers and non-native speakers' ability in comprehending sarcasm have been provided as some specific populations, such as Arabic, Spanish, and Korean, have been invited for research. Besides, the research materials utilized these studies are mainly traditional English literature, such as Jane Austen Prejudice, or materials made by researchers. Thus, Dr. Zhao in 2017 proposed the current studies of irony or sarcasm on Chinese English L2 learners are mainly in L1 Chinese language, and further research could investigate how Chinese English L2 learners comprehend sarcasm in English, especially on computer-mediated communication. Thus, this research is conducted in accordance with relevant theory. Relevant theory was proposed by Xuan and Wilson in 1986, and they believe that it can provide a useful perspective to human communication when it comes to interpreting and producing utterance. It emphasized the contribution of context to an interlocutor's ability to understand a speaker's utterance. In Xuan and Wilson's view, context is not predetermined, but determined by the utterance itself. In other words, the locutors received contextual cues based on what they find relevant once they heard an utterance. In turn, the interlocutors will process these contextual cues, select the most relevant items among them, and automatically determine what the speakers might have meant. As a result, how an utterance is interpreted is determined by the context in which it is presented by its locutor. In line with the relevant theory, Yu in 1998 and 2000 believed that the certain kinds of contextual sources could be triggered in one's cognitive environment during the comprehension of sarcasm. Thus, based on the research gap, I proposed the three research questions. They are, first, can Chinese English L2 learners recognize and comprehend sarcastic traits in English? Second, what kind of strategies and cues do Chinese English L2 learners utilize while recognizing and comprehending sarcasm on English traits? Number three, what are the challenges that Chinese English L2 learners encounter in recognizing and comprehending sarcasm on English traits? To address this research question, I propose the following methodology. As a research focus on Chinese adult English learners, I invited 100 Chinese adult English learners overseas students to join in this study. Besides, 30 native speakers invited to set up the benchmark of these answers. Those participants are studying in different universities in the UK with different majors, and their academic level ranges from bachelor to PhD. And for Chinese adult English learners, they all at least have 6.5 IELTS test. And all these participants joined in the questionnaire experiment where they need to provide their basic information and read the 35 tweets. For each tweet, they need to answer no more than 3 questions. By this question, the disparity of the ability in comprehending sarcasm, the nature of the target of sarcasm, and the attitude towards sarcasm between Chinese overseas students and the British English native speakers could be presented. Then among those 130 participants, 20 Chinese adult English learners and 10 native speakers are invited for a think aloud protocol experiment, where they need to verbalize their thought while thinking and answer some open questions after listening to the record of their verbalization. By analyze the data, the research will contribute to L2 programmatics, especially L2 sarcasm comprehension. It reviews the studies and the cues and the challenges involved in Chinese adult English learners' comprehension of sarcasm on tweets, and offers suggestions on how to detect and collect the sarcastic materials online in future studies. Moreover, it enriched the picture of TAP application in the programmatic studies. Besides, they provide language instructors an idea that a tweet might be a good platform for collecting sarcastic materials for teaching sarcasm. So thank you for listening to my presentation.